Listen to it via your mobile phone. Doesn't matter what type of device you have. If you ever have any issues trying to get the signal, the best way is to go straight to my website, Nathan Ivey. Now, if we're already Facebook friends and you just become accustomed to kind of going through the links that I provide whenever we broadcast live, that's fine too. But if you're ever out and about telling people about the show, just tell them Nathan Ivey. It's very easy to remember. And at the very top of the screen, I think I need to do some more education, perhaps online and beyond. Then you can catch our live signal. Very simple. Very simple. Does anybody think that the officer overreacted? Or do we all agree that this man had to do what he had to do? Kush writes, off topic, but I almost ran over 2 dog heads by accident in the middle of Reading Road and Martin Luther King. They walked right out in the middle of the street. Gonna be a long summer. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's gonna be an unbearably long summer. An unbearably long summer. You know it and I know it. And it's not because of the dope boys. It's because of the dope heads. These dog heads, man, wow. Who created this drug? Is having devastating effects, right? Yeah, I'm not ready for it either, bro. I see it. Oh, my God. I see it, too. You know, speaking of which, somebody almost walked right in front of traffic the other day. Probably a dog head. I mean, I'm not stereotyping, but I am generalizing. Maybe they're the same. Crystal writes, good morning, Team NI. Good to have you. Good to have you. Omar writes, I say it's justified. They got an off-duty officer guarding that spot for a reason. Run up there claiming a gun, and you can get it. Okay. All right. Kashana writes, pleasure, LOL. Okay, have fun then. Have some fun for me. Have fun. Mr. Holler writes, anybody wearing a bag on their head, you never know what they're going to do. Yeah, I got that wrong earlier. I agree with you. I mean, even a bag over your hand. There's a bag over your hand. I mean, is there any differences in terms of sentencing between having a gun or acting like you have a weapon? And there may be. Maybe he said, listen, if I get caught, I'm going to do 10 less years because I don't really have a gun. I mean, did the officer say anything? Does that matter? Stop or I'll shoot is what you see very popular in the movies. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, a situation like that, does the officer, is he trained? Is his job to say, listen, stop, put the weapon down first? Or can the officer just open fire and claim, I didn't know what this guy was going to do? Any connections to law enforcement in the room this morning? Rhonda writes, good morning. Last day of school for CPS. That's Cincinnati Public Schools. Don't remind me, Rhonda. I know. It's the least wonderful time of the year for parents. They're coming home every day, all day. If you can afford it, put your kids in a quality summer camp that does some serious enrichment. And then what you're going to have to do is double check the enrichment to make sure that they're actually doing stuff with the kids. Don't let your kids, your children and your grandchildren and your nieces and nephews, don't let them vegetate for the whole summer. Their brains need to be challenged. Okay? And they need to exercise. Don't let them lay around eating Cheetos all day long, playing video games on the damn devices all damn day long. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it because they will try. They will try. My name is Nathan Ivey, currently 7:22 a.m. in the Queen City. This is the Nathan Ivey Show.
It's 6:42 p.m. Time for Steve Plotto and his son Dylan to do the dishes. They talk about everything from the yuckiness of girls to the awesomeness of his soccer team. Sometimes they don't talk at all. Then, hey! The dreaded splash fight. It's Dad o'clock, and it's the best time of the day. Because the smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
Summer isn't fun when you're hungry.
If only I had a big test today.
Or a book report to give. Give me a math quiz.
Give me some homework.
If your child relies on free school lunches, we can help provide them with free meals this summer.
I'll stay after class. I'll clean the chalkboard. I'll keep my desk real clean.
So they can stop worrying about food and start focusing on fun.
I'll do extra homework.
I'll clean the class pet's cage.
I'll skip recess.
School might end, but free lunches don't have to.
I wish I was in school.
I wish I was in school.
If your child relies on free school lunches, we can help provide them with free meals this summer. Visit feedingamerica.org/summer meals to find your local food bank for help. Once again, that's feedingamerica.org/summer meals. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Good morning, welcome back. A beautiful Thursday in the Queen City. Thursday, May 26, 2016. Welcome back to the Nathan Ivey Show. Again, brought to you by the good folks over at Superlative Media. They do great work. Absolutely excellent. The Justice Department is seeking the death penalty for the church shooting suspect, young Dylan. And I'd like to get your thoughts about that. And how do you feel about Dylan Roof or Roth? I believe it's Roth. Being executed by the state, basically, for his crimes against the black community, against all humanity, actually. Now, how do you feel about that? Do we need to perpetuate a sick system that we know grinds up innocent people, lives, relationships, chews them up, spits them out, no remorse? Oops, my bad. We didn't mean to kill your daughter or your son. I mean, how many more people do we need to see exonerated by folks from the Innocent Project and other establishments whose mission statement it is to help liberate these people who essentially are political prisoners? They really are. Let's call it what it really is. That's a political prisoner. When you've been unjustly incarcerated for that many years because a prosecutor lied or the police coerced a witness, something needs to be okay. Because I'm sucker MC, but that's just me. I'm a little different. But some of you Ohioans ran out and made him the governor. And all he's done is ride on the coattails of Barack Obama. You can't stand Barack Obama, but it's undeniable that bailing out the automobile industry, helping out Michigan, helping out Detroit, indirectly helped out Ohio. There's a lot of connections between our economy here in Ohio and the automobile industry. Did you know that? John Kasich knows he's trying to take credit. Now he's bellyaching about how politics is such a dirty sport. Oh, I learned so much when I was moonlighting for a better job, trying to leave Ohio. The hell? I don't get it. Last day of school for CPS. Hopefully you can get through the summer. But we'll see if the governor signs this bill. Many people are saying that this is not the plan, that there is at least another plan on the table. Either way, I think we all believe and support that concept, right? That marijuana should be legal. And if it has any medicinal treatments, then they need to be fully explored. Listen, Ohioans, let's get together. Let's make sure that the next time the folks that want to control the legal marijuana cartel in Ohio. I don't know about you, but I want in on the legal marijuana cartel that's coming to Ohio. Don't you? Don't you? The hell is a Nick Lachey anyway? What is that? These names, these things. I know of them. I know not of them. What is this? Nick Lachey, marijuana kingpin. Are you nuts? Wow. I love the big O, right? Tremendous. He was a pillar of strength at a time when it was so easy for brothers to fold it in. He didn't do that. He didn't do that. I appreciate it. But does he need to be the marijuana kingpin of Ohio? Hell to the no. Ashley writes, I say the officer is justified. Every action has a reaction. That reaction was he lost his life. All right. All I'm asking is, does it matter if the officer identified himself? Does the officer in a situation like that have any responsibility to try to talk the suspect down and say, listen, put your gun down? Did that happen? Did they have that exchange? Or was it like, okay, creeping for the gun, got the gun, and just start open fire? Does that change it? Does that change it for you? Crystal writes, a heroin addict got hit by a car in Price Hill yesterday. Hashtag zoned out. These heroin addicts, they've taken over the streets. They've taken over the streets. They're like zombies out here. I mean, you literally have zombies walking around the streets of Cincinnati. Literally. And I see them. And then maybe I don't see them, but I stereotype the people that kind of look like what I believe these dog heads, these heroin addicts that have taken over the streets of Cincinnati. Focus on the users, perhaps. Mr. Hollywood writes, he might want to get killed. See, you know, that goes back to the whole death by cop thing, right? And speaking of cops, I'm not sure what the crime rate is around the nation in places like Detroit and, you know, other areas. I believe I've got some idea of what it is in the city of Cincinnati. I'm not so sure what's going on in places like Chicago, in places like Detroit, in places like Philly. And again, maybe I'm being too cynical, but can we put out some of the flames of the heroin epidemic and the violence epidemic before cops start dancing? Is that too much to ask for? How do you feel about this? Speaking of heroin addicts, I mean, you got a heroin. I mean, does Cincinnati police have time to dance? Now, if they're going to do the challenge, but do they really have time to dance? And did you know there was a dance challenge here that was put down? I'm sure many of you know about this. Detroit police challenged Cincy police, Chicago to the Running Man challenge. I watched the video. Matter of fact, put some comments on the video on their YouTube page. And it's police officers dancing. And on one hand, I thought, okay, this is different. You know, this is a different way to view police officers. You know, because I'm kind of used to seeing them like cracking some heads or tasing somebody or slamming a 15-year-old girl off a bicycle or choking some homeless man out because he won't put his hands behind his back or shooting the undercover buddies, opening fire on people who are surrounded. Did I hit everything? That's what I'm used to seeing police officers do. So this is different. This is a different kind of feel. Is this like propaganda? I mean, I got to be real with you here. Is the police, whoever came up with this, is this like propaganda? Like, this is going to show us in a different light. We can dance too. And perhaps in terms of the larger effort, the grand scale effort to mend those fences between the police and the community, perhaps these type of initiatives have a place. Perhaps they have a place. I mean, I'm willing to admit that on some levels, I guess, or at least entertain the idea. Or perhaps this is just a colossal waste of damn time. Dancing? You see this? Now, like I've always told you, I'm a homer at heart, so I'm going to roll with the CPD on this one. You already know that. If they've got to do it, if they've got to do this Running Man challenge. And oh, by the way, I thought it was a Running Man challenge, okay? Because, you know, they got this new Running Man. It's got nothing on the old Running Man. Like the old Running Man is killing this new Running Man, okay? And my wife proved that to my daughter a couple weeks ago. But you got people in there doing all kind of dances. They're doing the kid and play. They're doing that. That's not the Running Man. That's not even a Running Man. And, you know, with all the epidemics that are happening in the streets, what's going on in the streets when the police are all working on their dance moves, getting all Marky Mark and a Funky Bunch with it? I swear to God, I saw Marky Mark in that. I could be wrong. I could be wrong.